Hello and welcome to the Community Voice. I'm continuing my discussion, if it looks familiar, of the three artists, the Latin artists, the Brazilian jazz for the Aventura Jazz Festival. They're joining me now, but we want to get to know them better and their backgrounds and how music became such a fabric in their life of connecting to themselves and their audience. So I welcome you all three again, Ed Calle, Rose Max, and forgive me if I say it wrong. Go ahead, say it for me.
Ramatis.
Ramatis. Isn't that nice? Isn't that nice? That's lovely. So I know that we have the upcoming Aventura Jazz Festival, but let's get into what got you started to be a musician? I mean, you're not from here. You're from other countries. You migrated into our country and became part of the fabric of who we are, and with things that you brought along the way. You know, you bring your suitcase, but you also bring your experience, you bring your history, you bring your culture. So Ed, you want to start us off how this all began? Because you're not from here, you're from Caracas.
I'm originally from Caracas, and I lived in San Sebastian as a kid in Spain. My family's from Spain, all my family. So my dad lived in Venezuela, and they had kids there, and so I grew up there. But music for me was always in the house, and mine started really in Miami-Dade public schools, Miami-Dade County Public Schools. I started in junior high school. I'm a product of, very proud to say, a product of Miami-Dade County Public Schools, and the saxophone did something for me that I didn't have, which was a way to communicate with the average person. I was a nerd, you know. I was a kid who loved math, and I loved to study, and I did those kinds of things. Didn't talk to people very much. Didn't have much of that. Not a social person that way. And so the saxophone allowed me to communicate in a way that was universal, and yet gave me some protection. It's a little bit like a security blanket in a way, you know.
You were saying like Linus and his security blanket.
For me, it really is that way. And it's turned out to be a way for me to connect with people all over the world. I get to play on thousands of records, and I get to do things that, you know, you get to travel and play with great artists and play for amazing audiences and every great concert hall in the world and all the other stuff. And it's a real blessing. But at heart, I'll always be just the kid in band, you know, just learning the saxophone. That's what I do.
Well, it's really interesting. You're almost like an introvert. And what you're doing is so extrovert in the world and in stage and in recording and records and touring. And so that's such an interesting dichotomy to me.
Yeah, I think the music, when we're making music, so much of it is internal. You know, it's coming from your heart, and for me anyway, when I make music, I'm in a very different space. It's almost like I've left whatever that environment was, and now I'm in a very special kind of environment. And so I don't feel that pressure of the people. I don't even know they're there. And I play the same way, whether there are a million people or there are no people. Yes. It's just that the interaction that happens, that's really cool. But in terms of the art of making music or the science of making music, for me, it's really a space, an internal kind of exploration that you're going for. And it's a beautiful thing. And anyone that's in the arts, whether you're in painting, acting, sculpting, I think cooking is that way. And people have, you know, their hobbies that we get lost in these things, and it's a beautiful place to be. And I'm lucky that the saxophone has a bell and it speaks for me, I guess. I don't have to do it.
I love it. They're like one. I love this. And for you, you know, your backgrounds are also, you're from Rio de Janeiro?
Yes, I'm from Rio de Janeiro. My family works in arts. My father was director of plays in Brazil, in the theater. My mother was an actor, you know, and she acts in theaters, and she sings. And there's a very important movie from the 50s that's a Black Orpheus, that my mother was part of that movie too, you know. And that movie that Jobim and Vinicius made all the music for the movie, and my mother was there. And so I grew up inside a theater, you know, on the backstage. That's all my, no, I don't have like a lot of friends. I know all the actors, and I grew up inside, you know, environment like this, like here, you know. So for me, it was very natural to go to the music, But there's one point very important, because I think I was 7 years old. My father gave to me a record, a vinyl, from one of the
vinyl,
best.
vinyl. Remember those days?
Yes,
They're
yes.
going to come back as retro.
I still have a collection of vinyl.
So do
Jazz.
I could sell you some
all
stuff.
in vinyl. Jazz for me, I have to listen. And give to me a record from Baden Powell that was very important guitar player in Brazil. He changed the way to play. It's more like the player I try to play. That's you make a guitar like an orchestra. You play everything, play the bass, play the melodies, play the harmonies. And then I just decided at that time, I want this for my life. I want this. No, I want to play the guitar. Like Eddie, I'm very nervous about that, because I just go to the school on morning and I spend all the rest of the day inside my room playing guitar. I don't need to go to the streets to play with nobody. I I don't like to talk too much. So play all the time, and that's what was my life. When I was a kid. So I started to play guitar, study guitar at 7 years old.
Wow. And Rose, what about you? How did you come from a long pedigree of artists, Brazilian artists as well?
Falando do seu avô.
Sim.
I'm sorry.
No problem.
I can't help you that language.
When I talk about my grandfather, I stay so because he was a conductor and a flute player and teacher and piano player too. And he was a big name in the music in the end of the 19th century, in a beginning of the 20th century in Brazil, Rio de Janeiro. And all my life, I heard things about him. But
how long did you know? How old were you when he passed?
How old?
Qual idade você tinha quando ele
my mother was 15 years old when he died.
No, so you never got to meet him?
Never. Yeah. Just heard things.
So you had like this person that you never met living in your head.
But he was and is a very big, important influence in my life, because I think I have music in my blood from him.
Yes, your DNA is him.
My DNA, yes.
It's running through your body. How could it not?
Yes, from my mother's side, I have music. My grandfather, my grandmother, my mother sings very, very, very nice. She sings very, very nice. And all my life, I heard my mother singing, and I started to sing. But my mother always said to me, "Rose, please shut up," because I sang on the school, in my house, in the car, in the doctor, in the bus, in the morning, in the afternoon, in the night. I said, "Rosie, shut up, shut up."
But she's like the same today. She wake up singing. I don't understand that. I need like 3 coffees to start to talk. And
I always wake up.
You're ready to sing. Sing to each other. You're a couple.
Yes.
And how long have you been married or together?
Oh my God.
30 some.
So I got to ask you one very, very important question. Do you fight?
Well, when we rehearse the songs, but that's something very positive, because we fight to make the music better. Yeah. We expose our ideas, and I agree, I don't agree, and so at the end we have a good, a good music playing. So I think that's very important to discuss. It's not like fight. It's not discussing.
Oh, come on! Yeah. You're amongst friends here, just the 4 of us.
And I have how can I say a philosophy, a way to live. When you're so angry, shut up, close your mouth and wait. And
there's something very important.
Start singing.
And for start to sing.
Music.
Far away.
I always say that for all my friends. We can be angry with each other, but when we start to play together, we go in harmony, and that's the real thing that happens. Because I forget everything when I listen to her voice. I just forget. That's not important. And more important is that moment and that music that we can make. And so music for us, like, wow, it's something that gets us together like
It's our
that.
life, our lives.
Do you like to create music, or do you like to do stuff that's already written and just improvise it and make it your own?
That's funny because I remember I was best player in Brazil. And when I moved here to United States, and just me and Rose, and okay, I need to play some instruments to her to sing. So I have to learn lots of songs in 1 week to do a show.
So what instruments do you play?
Hmm?
What instruments do you play? Tell our audience.
No, I play in the past bass. Now having like 2 long nails to play the bass.
Oh, so you're really fitting the mold.
Yeah. So I play a little bit piano, but that's normal. That's normal for musicians now to play a little bit of instrument. No wind instruments. That's for me. It's like I don't understand. That's very confused. I see a guy with a trumpet. I say, well, this too.
I'm the same way with a guitar.
Okay, how can you do all? So
it doesn't translate.
No, it's different. I really like it, especially the acoustic guitar, but it just doesn't transfer the same way with that. And it's easy for me to see stuff on the piano than it is on a guitar or bass because of the way they're constructed and all that.
Yeah, the guitar is more hard to see the things there, and the piano is there, and so you can see. But was my first instrument, the guitar that I started to learn. So, and at that time, when I started to learn it in the middle of the 60s, the bossa nova was very popular. So everybody wants to play the guitar from the bossa nova. But at that time, there is no schools in Brazil for jazz or bossa nova. So I learned classical music.
Oh, so you're classically trained first?
Yes, I play classical from 7 to 13 years old.
So how did you change over to decide this is where I want to go in this direction versus we never start out the way that we think we're going to end up, and life takes us on interesting journeys.
No, what's funny because at 13 years old, I'm so tired about classical music. I cannot play anymore.
At 13 years old, by then I had enough.
No, I don't want this. I'm just gonna. I don't want to play more. So we moved from Rio de Janeiro downtown to a small island inside the Guanabara Bay, on Rio de Janeiro Bay. And I think that's God. And the side of my house here, my neighbor has a band playing R&B and the disco music, and rock and roll. My neighbor, and I see that I have all that knowledge about classical, and I say, I can't play that. I can't play this. This is more easy than
of course.
And so I just remember that in 6 months I was in the band. With 13 years old, I started to make money with music, and I play all the Motown stuff. I know all the American music because that is very popular in Brazil at that time in Motown's bands, So I learned everything. In the bass was, oh my God, okay, now I can play that.
That's wonderful. And what about you, Rose? You're a singer. You have an incredible voice from I've listened to you on your recordings and our interview a little while ago. It's just, how did you train? How did that happen for you?
I started to sing when I was born.
You came out screaming.
No screaming, just and but I working for different streets, different styles. Né? I am doing a university. I am a Portuguese and literature teacher. I teach in there in Rio de Janeiro. But one day, I knew this guy. I was my condom with my friends playing a guitar because I played it just in my house because with him, what I need to play guitar. Why? I was in my condom and with my friends play, and suddenly he appeared. I said, "Oh, how?" I stayed.
Yeah, because I just met her and I heard her voice, and I was in a band, the top 5 bands, that play everything for the.
Invited him.
And I just listened to her voice and say, "Look, the band look for a new singer. We wanted to do an audition there, and
me.
so
I go there. Okay, how how many they pay, because
How much they pay?
How much they pay, sorry, because I was a teacher, né? Teacher in Rio de Janeiro, in my country.
Yeah.
No, the salary is very good.
Okay, no, okay. I called them. Okay, went there, did the audition. They okay. Next week we started to okay, and now since then, I saw why I like too much to do this with the audience, with the band. Okay, and stay. But in 1 year, I felt my voice so bad, because we played 3 times per week. I felt, okay, I need do something. Okay, I started to do how can I say in English?
Vocal training.
Vocal classes. Okay, okay. And after this, it's okay, I need to study more. I was a wonderful music school in Rio called Sigan, started music, and this is my life. Music, sing all time, everywhere. And after 3 years, we are friends. After 3 years, we start more closer.
You're a very patient boy. You're very patient.
It was like
as a friend.
It's a love about 3 years old, because we start to play and work together and travel together with the band, doing it also. And she's my friend. She's my friend. She's a musician. We see the musician like that. She's just a musician, like the rest of the band. And one night, like that, poof.
Cupido.
Yeah.
Wow, interesting. Right into your heart.
Yeah,
interesting.
Yeah.
Ed, so talk about a little bit about, you talk about how you came to this moment a little bit, but it's been many, many years. You've done so many interesting things, and now you're a professor over at the college.
Miami-Dade College. Yeah. My life is just a continuous kind of a growth spurt. It's
I love that growth spurt.
It just goes from one phase to another. As a kid, my father was a very, very good pianist, had perfect pitch and all that kind of stuff. My mom always sang around the house, but my mom, like you said, when I would always sing in the car in Venezuela, but she would never stop me. But I would never sing something that was on the radio. I would always make stuff up.
Oh,
so I was improvising way back when, and when I started playing in school, fortunately I had great band directors who were they understood. I think they saw it right away, and I would just never play. I couldn't just play what was written, no matter what it was. I always had to make stuff up, and so I had a band director. He was Chuck Foster. He's like a second father for me.
Hey, Chuck.
And Vince Ricci, who was these two guys, they both passed, but they were both directors at Rockaway Senior High School back then. And when I would get a little out of hand, what they would do is they say, "Hey, do me a favor, go play the tuba part on the saxophone, or go play the trombone part." If there was somebody that was missing that day, I would go play the other part. So I became really well trained in transposition, and I got to know all the instruments, and from a very young age, I knew what note I was playing against what my note was in comparison to the other notes and where I sat on the chord, because I was always improvising. And so I started playing like you. I think I must have been about 12 when I started to play and get hired to play.
So this is this is what you knew all your life, that music was going to be your life.
No, yes. I had no idea.
Oh, you both, yes, but no.
Mine was complete by accident. My father worked 2 jobs, and at night he was working in a place. He was a manager, and they gave me a piece of paper from school, and I gave it to him, and it was a questionnaire about whether your child wanted to play in band. And you know that back then, if your father asked you if you wanted to do something, you always said yes. Mm-hmm. So my father said to me, he said, "Do you want to play in band?" And I looked at him and went, "Okay. What instrument do you like?" I said, "I don't know." He said, "What about the saxophone?" I said, "Okay."
Oh my God.
It was
Isn't that interesting?
Complete accident. Now, the minute that I put a saxophone in my face in my mouth. It was, and everybody will tell you this from all my friends that go all the way back. They say that from the first minute I played it, I had a very distinctive sound. It was like everybody knows who it is. You know, I play on all those records. Everybody's, oh, that's Calle. Oh, that's Calle. Oh, that's Calle. It was like that from the first day. So it was completely by accident. And like I said before, I really think, you know, things don't happen by accident. I really think that there's a master plan, and God just sort of said, like, here's a saxophone. And it opened up the world for me in ways that I could not have imagined. I mean, you play for kings and queens, and you play on every continent and every country and every concert hall with the greatest musicians in the world, and for incredible audiences. And you know, I've played in Brazil in a soccer stadium for 130,000 people with Julio Iglesias.
Wow.
When the audience screamed, and we had a sound system that was the Rolls Royce of sound systems. When the audience screamed, not only did it knock the air out of you from the pressure of their sound, we couldn't hear anything on the stage. It was the equivalent of what the Beatles went through when they first came to America in the stadium. And you have those experiences, and working with people like Julio Iglesias, who's, you know, one of the greatest singers of all time. And it's like that with every person I work with. I got to record a solo with Frank Sinatra and Antonio Carlos Jobim.
What?
I mean, on the duets, on the Frank Sinatra albums.
Was that the highlight of your career?
One of them. One of them.
And what strikes me, because I've known you for like an hour and a half, 2 hours maybe. You're so humble. You're so approachable. You're so real.
I'm nobody. Look.
Yes, you are. You are Ed Calle, whoever Ed Calle is.
I always tell people that this here, when you wear a neck strap, John Coltrane wore an neck strap, Charlie Parker wore an neck strap, Stan Getz wore. The rest of us are just trying to keep up, you know. For me, it's just a work in progress, and I feel so lucky that I get to make music with you, that I get to make music with Negroni,
and that's up and coming. That's in the Aventura Jazz Festival, up and coming October 21st and 22nd at the Aventura Cultural Arts Center. So get your tickets at Ticketmaster. Just a quick plug. I'm sorry.
Don't miss it. Don't miss it. But what a blessing it is to be able to do what you do. And to work with people who are always better than you are, and to learn from them. You know, I always tell the story of the Bee Gees called me to record a solo on their record, and I walk into the studio, and there are the three of them sitting there, and I never get nervous because the saxophone protects me. It's sort of like, you know, it's like my shield. So I walk in the studio, and here they are, all three of them sitting one next to the other.
Disarming.
And so I go in and I listen to the track, and of course my heart's going as fast as it can go, and I listen to it, and I got to go play the solo. And right as I was walking out, I said, you know, and I'm very shy, but I said to them, I said, I got to tell you something. I said, I never get nervous, but this is a lot like being in front of Mount Rushmore. and they all just kind of laughed. And I had worked with them independently, but not with all three of them at the same time. And when you get those kinds of experiences, when you play, you know, Gloria is a very close friend of mine, Gloria Estefan, Emilia Estefan. I mean, when the Grammy happened, the first person who called me was Emilia Estefan.
Oh wow! And that's how many years? How many years before did you work together?
Oh, we've been working together forever. In fact, here's a great. Nobody knows. Well, very few people know this.
Now everybody's going to know it.
When I was playing in a band, and I decided I was going to make a solo album. So I made a solo album, a jazz album. Great idea, right? Jazz is 2% of the market. So I'm playing with Gloria at the time, and Emilio comes to me and says, "Hey, I heard you made a solo album. How come I haven't heard it?" And I said, "I mean, they're selling millions of records." I'm like, "Emilio, it's jazz. You're going to hate it." He's like, "Let me hear it." So he said, "Do you mind if I have it for a week?" I said, "Emilio, you could have it for a year. I don't care. What am I going to do with it?" I swear. A week later, he calls me from New York City, from the Epic Records office. He said, "Hey, are you interested in a record contract?"
Wow.
I'm like,
"Wow."
What?
There he is calling me now.
He said, "What do you want?" He said, "What do you want?" I said, "Emilio, you're the manager. You take care of everything."
Oh my God!
This guy, and very few people know about that. So when you talk about humility, I've been around some of the greatest people in the world, and they have done things for me that I could not have imagined. And it's because of them that I'm here, and it's because of the teachers, and it's because of you guys. You know, if you're making music, you're only as good as the people you're making music with. So it's a pretty simple formula, really. You know, like Rose said something, and I started to laugh, but she said, when you have, and I always say to myself, there was a Phil Ramone and Quincy Jones always say this to the musicians when they come to the studio. They always say, Phil Ramone, may he rest in peace. He says, check your ego at the door.
Oh, yeah.
And I always think to myself, when I go anywhere, all I do is listen and try to figure out what I can learn from that person, whoever they are. They could be famous or not famous, but I'm trying to hear what they're doing and learn from them. Sometimes it's just the way they talk to the audience. Sometimes it's a note they play. Sometimes it's their musical kind of rhythm and their soul. And you try to pick up on those things. And so all of us, I think, as we grow older, especially, we realize that we're blessed to have had those influences and those opportunities. And we pray that they continue to happen, and that you never forget, for me, and in any case, that one never forgets that we never get there. We're never going to get there. John Williams says that, you know, we're striving to do something that's impossible, to be perfect. It can't be done. And so I figure if it's good enough for John Williams, it's good enough for me. Yeah.
And what's your legacy at the end of the day?
My family. The most important thing in my life are my wife and my kids, the same way that my mother and my father were for me. That's it. And my kids extend to all the kids that I teach at Miami-Dade. And so many of them now are on, kids who have won Grammys, kids who have produced all kinds of records. One who produced the Baja Man, who came to me, who didn't know anything about music, couldn't find C on a piano. And these are my kids, and these are on the Amon Blue album. There are more than 100 musicians on that record. All my friends are there. And I'm sorry I didn't call you guys, but I didn't have anything in Brazilian. And by that time, the record was done. But the next one, but I mean,
you heard it right here, right?
Yeah. And we've done many things together, but there are probably 30 students on that record who were students of mine who were on that record. So that's a legacy. I mean, those things are important. Absolutely. The rest of it, I just hope that I live long enough to get a little better. That's all. I'm trying to figure it out. I still don't know.
I think we all are trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
What's your legacy, both of you? What do you want the world to remember you? Not that I don't want to be morose and sad, but
let me say something. I think the magic of the music, the magic of our lives is we give for everybody the music. Once one guy at the end in our show, he stay close. Oh, I like so much you guys. Oh, I have your record, our first record here, Rosemax Brazilian Jazz. He said, I have your album, your CD, and this CD made me so happy because I had cancer. I make chemo and radio, and during all that time I heard your album.
The CD during the chemo. He feels better, you know.
I stay.
Yes.
What a gift! What a gift for him to be able to share that with you.
So I think music is for that. Now I understand. In the past, I was always very nervous to performing. You know, with all the time, it's always very nervous. But I understand something. I'm not here to receive. I'm here to give.
Yes.
But in the opportunity of giving, you get.
Yes.
Yeah, but I don't care. But I don't care.
But you get the feeling. You get that feeling. You get that
when
connection.
Somebody comes to me and say, I love you, play. I just say, but I know inside me, I know, but I need to get better in this and that and that. So I know what's going on, you know, and I love, I appreciate all the people that like, and I say, it's so good that you like it. You know, but inside me, I don't like this, I don't like that. Oh my God, I need to
we are our own worst critic, that's for sure.
And for me, that's more important that music I'm doing, I have to like it, that, you know. Absolutely. That's more important for me. And this for me was a change of life. When I understand, I'm here not to receive the applause, not receive, no, I'm here to give. So that's very sincerely from my part to give you, do my best. And so to give, I have to give my best. So I practicing a lot and plus,
Play all day.
she's natural. She can sing without know the song.
I
No,
cook and
I know I
sing.
have to study. I have to study 8 hours a day all the time.
But it was beautiful. Thank you for giving your music to the world, all three
Thank
of
you.
you. I really appreciate this time with you here again. You want to take us out with a song? Since you're holding, Linus is holding.
This.
Oh,
I'll play just a little bit of. This is the first song that I played ever in front of people, and in front of an audience like this. And it was the only time my father ever heard me play, even though it was his idea, because he died when I was only 16. But I'm going to play a little bit of Misty.
Oh, beautiful.
Let me see.
Oh, yeah. Ooh. Beautiful, man.
Thank you.
He's so humble because he knows who you are. A wonderful guy. Excellent.
I know where I
He's a
came from.
wonderful soul.
It's
Yes.
all of you,
Pleasure.
all of this community that make us who we are, and we
Oh,
do
of
this
course.
for the love of them, the same way you do it, and we're all together in this. And music is the one universal force. You know, the arts are that's what connects all of us. It's beautiful. It doesn't care what we look at, how much I weigh, how much hair I have. It doesn't care.
Yeah.
It's just about this emotional attachment that we have with each other. It's a beautiful thing.
And this was a beautiful time together. And I wish you good journeys and safe journeys. And it was really my pleasure. I hope you feel the heart. I feel the heart. So all the best and enjoy your performances. And may you be packed and standing room only in Aventura for your jazz festival and bringing it out there in the universe. And I want to thank you for joining us today. I'm Fara Sax, and this has been The Community Voice.